There are so many reasons you should want to be healthy and move more, and there are probably just as many excuses not to. Joining us today on Newsmakers is Erin Slivka, Marketing and Public Information Manager for the Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce, to talk about a new health initiative in the Joplin area. Thanks for joining us.
Well, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
So talk about what Healthy Joplin is.
So Healthy Joplin is part of our livability work group. We partner with One Joplin, the Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce, and One Joplin it's two parts. Part of it is a resource and a tool to attract new talent and retain talent here in the Joplin area and in Joplin, but also as a resource for people who are already in our community to find information about different services and healthy activities and things that you could be doing to maintain a healthy lifestyle.
And what's the second part?
The second part would be the community as far as providing those resources. So talent attraction tool and then a community resource tool.
Okay. And who are the partner agencies with Healthy Joplin?
So Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce and One Joplin are the two entities that are leading the efforts with Healthy Joplin, and through that we invite our business community and people in our community that may be in education services, as far as working with our kiddos, the medical field, so our health systems here in the area, businesses, and then our different agencies as far as stakeholders from any type of public services from our Joplin Health Department and different city services.
Okay. And so where did the idea come from to start this walking groups initiative?
Well, unfortunately, our area is not the most healthiest area, and would say we're in somewhat of a health crisis, and we have a lot of resources in this area, and part of it is to connect those resources to the individuals that could utilize those resources, from either it being a business in our community to utilize to build up a workforce, as far as the workforce within providing different services to have a healthy workforce, but also with our kids and starting from that young age to instill those healthy habits.
Mm-hmm. So somebody from a business or the health community said, hey, we need this.
Yes.
This is it.
Yes, so wellness today, workplace wellness is huge with employers, and we can do well with attracting businesses and helping our businesses that are already here to expand. But another huge component of that is making sure we have a healthy workforce. And I feel that that's one area that we should be measuring as a community, is that the people that live here are healthy, because that goes a long way as far as our productivity in the community, but also at work.
Right. So talk about what are the benefits of group walking, I guess, if you will, the point behind this.
Yeah, so Healthy Joplin, the webpage is broken up into a couple different pieces that are the key pillars of what maybe rounds out to make an individual healthy or community healthy. So we have active living, workplace wellness, mental health, and eating healthy. Also on that website, on healthyjoplin.com, we have the blog section or the news. So a big push that we've been pushing the last year and working hard with our volunteers is the walking groups. So last week, or about a few weeks ago, we had the kickoff for Walk Joplin, and we have about 5 different walking groups right now here in Joplin, and one I believe just outside in Webb City or Carl Junction. And it's to bring people together. It holds those individuals accountable because you're meeting up with other individuals, but it also provides a safe place for people to walk together in a group, because sometimes it's not always, I wouldn't say safe, but it's to be walking by yourself, just to be with a pack of people to... Yeah,
it's like a feeling of security more so than the actual security.
Yes,
right,
yes.
Yeah, because I often think the trails, when I look at them, they go into the woods.
Yes.
And as a woman, especially, not that I can't defend myself, but I think, ooh, somebody's going to pop out of the... But that really doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't. But
because they're so populated.
Yes, I have the same type of thoughts that go through my head. And really, if we even go back further, the City of Joplin Health Department, they received a grant about 5 or 6 years ago, and it was a women's health grant, and part of that in the grant application was to get walking groups going, because it had to do with young mothers or a mother, as far as getting them out and building camaraderie with other individuals. But and then it's just kind of evolved, because we do have these walking groups that they mainly meet in the evening, but there's opportunities also in the early afternoon around the lunch hour that people can get together and go on a walk.
Yeah, and we all know that we're way more sedentary now than in years past, and whether that's like your smartphones, computers, or me who binge watches like hundreds of hours off streaming services. Yeah. So talk about why experts say that walking even just a short amount of time every day can be super healthy for you.
Well, mental wellness right there, getting out, moving more, just building that lung capacity, and just getting up from your desk. I'm guilty of it as far as like being stuck at my desk and not moving around, and just joint health, and just being able to get that heart rate up, of course. So
yeah, and I learned so much more, and I think as a younger individual, you don't think about it. You're like, oh, I'm that whole invincibility syndrome that we have.
Yes.
But as you get older, you think about these things, and you start to search out more information, and just the walking, stretching, things like that, that could, prolong your life even 5-10 years.
Right. And I think too, as you get older, and I'm starting to get to that age where you feel the effects of when you're not being active or not taking care of yourself the right way. It's the recovery process is a lot longer than it used to be.
Yeah, you get sicker longer, and you're like, you get up in the morning and you're like, why does that hurt?
Right.
Like, I completely get it. So talk about why it matters to the chamber. You had mentioned having a healthy workforce.
Yes.
What all can be beneficial?
Sure. So workplace wellness is huge right now, not just here, but in the country. And we have a lot of great resources, and you can find them on the website. But reducing absentee, lowering your insurance costs, the employees. It's still important to do those regular routine visits, but hopefully that will take away from doing some unexpected visits to help just improve your all-over mental well-being, having access to some healthy snacks that aren't maybe like donuts or the refined sugars, candy bars. And I know a lot of businesses, they'll have different desk stretches, and I know there's a couple different agencies working on some things to hopefully come out into this market, that if you're someone that sits at your desk all day, there's different activities you could do each day depending on what day it is. So, but I think everyone who's in the workforce right now really values a place of work that values workplace wellness. So, through Missouri State, the Missouri Department of Health, I got my words mixed up, they have MOCAN, which not to confuse with our MOCAN Economic Development Group or MOCAN Dragway, but it's about workplace wellness. And we actually have, this area has the largest number of businesses who are certified in the workplace wellness program. Some of those businesses are Freeman Health System, Missouri Southern State University is one of those businesses, KCU Medical, some of our school districts here. I think two of them last year, the city of Joplin's one of those businesses, and you get rated based on different tiers, stronghold data. So you can be large, small, there's a place for everybody. I think Jasper County Sheriff's Office was recently one of those businesses, and then there's reaccreditation, but they give you that toolkit, and then you have that group of other businesses to where you can share ideas, best practices, and that kind of stuff. But we're working on getting more of those resources to make sure, no matter the size of your business, you can develop a wellness program within the workplace. Actually, the here at MSSU, the SBDC and Freeman Health System have a series coming up at the end of April for a workplace wellness program, and it's Wellness for Business. Part 1 is exploring the whys and hows of wellness, and that is Wednesday, April 27th, 11 to 12:30, and I believe it goes until June. It's either monthly, but it's free. So all you have to do is sign up, or you could do a virtual option as well if you can't meet in person. So.
Okay. And I've heard that happy people, or people who exercise a lot, are happier, that it can increase your productivity and all of the chemicals in your brain that make you happy.
Right. Yeah, no, I think there's a space to where there's like a meditation type of space that you get into, and it's something that you can release maybe anything that's stressing you out, because you have to get to that exercise and to take care of yourself, you need to have a good mental well-being. And I think with Healthy Joplin, there's resources on that website through either Freeman or Mercy and a couple other of our agencies here in this market that can make sure to help people, and there's support services in this region to help people get to that mental well-being. And then you get to that exercise by taking care of yourself, by joining a walking group or running. And there's so many different types. I mean, pickleball is a super popular, and that's something like my kids and I are probably going to start doing, because I used to play tennis when I was younger. So I think there's just a lot of unique ways to exercise. I mean, you don't have to be a runner. You don't have to be a walker. You can find disc golf is another one. Unique activities that somebody can participate in.
Yeah, and we're not talking about weight loss necessarily. We're just talking about being more active and being more healthy.
Yes.
And sometimes one leads to the other.
Right, right.
I mean, some middle-aged women know that not necessarily does one lead to the other, but you know, it's just the point of getting out and doing more.
Right, and being more aware too. And there's the active side of it, and we talk about the mental well-being part of it, but also eating right, and teaching, making sure our kids and individuals that may have food insecurities have access to healthy food. And I think we're starting to see more of that here, and people are being better educated of what that means and what that looks like in this area. So
yeah, the older folks, like my grandparents, they would cook with bacon grease.
Right.
And there'd be bread with every meal and gravy with an inch of you know, grease on top of it.
Right.
It's like, I just, you know.
Right.
But they were more active than we were.
Yes. Yes,
So
because
that's
they're
like the trade-off.
Yes, they weren't sitting as much.
Right. They didn't know what binge
They
watching
didn't have
was.
cell phones with TV on it.
A computer in their back pocket.
Right.
So talk about some of the upcoming programs
Sure.
that
So
people can participate in.
Absolutely. If you go to healthyjoplin.com, we do have an events calendar where there's different events coming up in our community. We encourage anybody in our community or in the region that may be planning events that go along the lines with healthy eating, active living, workplace wellness, to get that event. There's no cost to add it to the calendar. But of course, we have our walking groups that meet regularly. We have 2 walking groups that are meeting next week. A Neo Show, there's a walking group that meets Saturdays as well, on the second Saturday of the month. But Natural Grocers in a few weeks has an eating healthy class. And then as we start ramping up in the summertime, Empire Market always does some special events. And then Freeman Health System has a couple of different community support services programs. So if you're a caregiver of somebody, they have a support program for those caregivers to come together, because that is mentally hard, because you're caring for a loved one, and there's a lot of extra stresses that go with that. And so I think it's important that we get members in our community connected to those other individuals that may be in that similar space as them, to be able to help them through those challenges. Or maybe an individual is like, I'm dealing with this and has never dealt with it before, but now they're connected to someone's like, hey, I've dealt with that. This is how I got through it. And they have that support system. And I mentioned the workplace wellness programs that the SBDC and Freeman Health System will be doing as well. But the Autism Walk is coming up with Freeman, so that's another very popular event. Supports a great cause to our autism center. And then as we get to those warmer months, Joplin Memorial Run is coming up in May. So a lot of different activities and things. I think it will be announced in April 16th. There will be it's new to the area, Joplin Parks and Rec, Joplin Y are doing a water safety class coming up.
That's really
every
great.
kiddo that participates, there will be one in the morning and one in the afternoon. They'll get life vests. So be on the lookout for that. That will be hitting the media circuits, communication channels soon. But I think that's so important because we do have the lakes. Our area is heavy with lakes and streams and a lot of in the pools, and I think it's important for kids to understand how to act or how to respond when they're in a high water situation. So
yeah, that can be scary.
Yes.
And we've had, in our area several deaths due to things like that.
Yep.
So are there any requirements for joining these walk groups, like medical forms or any releases, anything like that?
Yes. So if you find a walking group on the calendar that meets the needs and the times of either location and times, there's forms on that calendar event where they'd complete a Google worksheet. If there's a minor, a guardian would have to complete that. We also have opportunities if someone wants to start a walking group. There's a little training for them to go through in documentation, because we want to make sure we're documenting the number of walkers we have, because there's always opportunities for us to either get funding or report those numbers to other agencies as we track our community's health.
Right. And that is important, because if you look, there's several resources out there that show where Jasper and Newton County rank in the state.
Yes.
And a number of the numbers aren't great.
No, we're we're low for our area. Well, in the state, we're one of the lower counties for both Jasper and Newton, and we really want to get those numbers up. And we're hoping that having healthyjoplin.com provides that central space for individuals who are already here to find what they need. But just like the rest of America, we're having a work issue as far as getting people here to come work. Shortages, and this provides a place for those individuals who may be seeking our area to maybe debunk some of those numbers, to be like, oh, they do have all this stuff. Oh, look, they do have these trails that connect in the region and the park space. I think we have, for our size of a community, the number of park spaces as far as green space is something you would see in like a Kansas City metro area. So we do have a lot of green spaces and areas and access to things for someone who likes to keep a healthy lifestyle. They would have access to that when they move here. So
yeah, and I love it when I see sidewalks being improved.
Yes.
I don't know if people put thought into, they're just, why are they redoing it matters getting from point A to point B.
Yes.
If there aren't sidewalks,
yes,
a lot of people are hesitant to walk.
Right.
And if you want to encourage more of that, that helps.
Right, and that we can do another show about this, but that kind of goes in lines with having complete streets and having inclusive spaces for all modes of transportation, because not everyone owns a car today.
Right.
And a great example is I met a student who last summer, first year KCU med student, he doesn't have a car because he came from a community where you didn't need a car. And he was like, okay, I have my bike, so how can I he lives closer to campus, wanted to know, like, okay, this is the way to take to get to downtown if I want to do the coffee shops, some of the different restaurants that our downtown area has to offer. But what about your public transportation options, which we have? But I mean, if someone's in a wheelchair, like, they need to have a space where they feel safe to get to where they need to go.
Yeah, and I like it that Joplin put the bike emblems on some of the roadways to let people know, look out for bikes.
Right.
Because it works.
Yes. Yes.
And some are, like you said, people come from bigger cities and they walked a mile to work.
Right.
Every day.
Right.
And we're like, a mile to work?
Right.
What?
Well, I always share, I moved here from a larger city and lived in a couple other larger cities prior to that. And I worked downtown, and I would drive in sometimes for whatever reason, if I chose not to take a train, one of the trains in. But when I parked, I parked.
Right.
And the community I moved here from was Austin, Texas, and it's hot.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
like, I still didn't move, but I would truck 5 blocks, even if I ended up having to break a sweat because I did not want to lose that parking spot.
Yep.
But here at the chamber, I have quite a few meetings
We're
at
spoiled.
City Hall.
Yeah.
And it's 2-3 blocks away. And there's times I catch myself getting in my car and driving. It's like I could be walking. So I've been trying to be more aware. And I chair this work group, so I kind of feel guilty like getting in my car and walking to City Hall.
Yeah, I'm going to tattle on myself, but when I went to school, just on this campus alone, I would drive my car rather than walk across campus.
Sure.
And it's not that far.
Right.
But I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Right.
It was just, I was always late. I always run late. So it's like, get in my car. And I had so many hundreds of dollars in parking fines. They almost didn't let me graduate.
Oh.
So what are the different groups that people can join? How many are there?
As the walking groups,
Yes.
right now we have 5 walking groups. I know we're onboarding 2 more. The location of some of those groups, Mercy Park, Freeman Advantage, they meet the second Tuesday, I believe, of the month. I don't have the calendars in front of me, so please don't hold these
we'll
dates
pull
in
up the
front of me.
website, yeah. So.
We have 2 walking groups in the downtown Joplin area that meet different days of the week. One's teamed up through the health department. Another one is the individual works for the fire department but is super active in the healthy lifestyle.
Firefighters have to be.
Yes. We have a group out over by Mercy Hospital. NEO shows one of the ones. I want to say we have one in Webb City or Carl Junction, and we're in the process right now of actually building a landing page for these walking groups, so you don't have to navigate through the calendar because, as I said, we're in the process of ramping up 2 more groups. So I have a feeling we'll be having quite a few more come online here in the next few months. So.
And is there a limit, or are you, like, once you sign up, are there any responsibilities or requirements for you to?
Your responsibility is to show up and walk.
To yourself.
Yeah.
Which I guess that's part of the whole walking group thing. You have somebody to be accountable for, too.
Yes, be accountable. And you would hate to leave somebody there by themselves, so you better show up.
For sure. So what do they do if it's bad weather? Is there or is it each team decides?
So because each team will decide, but one of the benefits of having individuals, participants, and the walking group leaders complete the form is you have contact information on there. And that way the leader can communicate to the group what the plan is for that day if we do have severe weather in the area.
Sure.
So I want to say one of our walking groups does have a backup walking location that's inside the Joplin Family Y, and they use that indoor track for colder weather days.
What about the mall? Do they still
the mall
use that?
They do. There is the walking in the mall. I want to say that's one of the groups that we're working on integrating in and having that. But yeah, for those early morning, the mall is open for individuals who prefer to walk inside, and the mall has it nicely tracked out. I've been in the mall a few times in the morning for other things, and I've seen a lot of people walking, so which is great.
Will there be any competitions, or has this been discussed yet, like between the groups, or so many miles per week? Or?
We haven't gotten there yet. That's a long-term goal that we've talked about within the group. And there's long-term goals of maybe having, once we really lay the foundation of a lot of these groups and these different initiatives, to even have business challenges as far as, so I'm a competitive person, so I am not opposed to having competitions.
Right. Just for bragging rights and nothing else.
Yes, I don't need a trophy. I just need to be able to throw it in someone's face that I won.
And do you find that younger people, if they move into the area, this is the thing that they're looking for?
Yes. So one of the amazing things about working at the Chamber and being in these different spaces is we get to meet a lot of the new individuals that move to this area, and having KCU as a great partner. Every year we get to partner with them in doing a city community tour with the new students that are coming on campus. And so this last summer we did that, and we put together a nice packet for them to be able to find where to go, things to do, what you need to be connected to find out where those things are. But everyone's like, where are the running groups? And what shocks a lot of these individuals, and it even shocked me, I used to be really into running, not so much right now, but a lot of these running groups and meetups, they're free.
Right.
And in bigger communities, that's not always the case. And we're hoping to get the slow rolls. That's another thing that we had going out of our Trails and Connectivity work group, is slow rolls, where we meet up and go to bike ride to different spots around the community. And it's about a 6-mile bike ride. They're easy rides, so it's meant to be family friendly. But yes, that is some of the top things that come out of these younger individuals' mouth is, where are the trails and where do I work out? Having that active lifestyle is very important to them. And where do we hang out in the coffee shops?
That's always, and we have plenty of those.
Yes. And I like to frequent all of them.
Right, there you go. Well, I really appreciate you coming on and talking to us today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Bet. Thanks for joining us today. I want to thank Erin Slifka with the Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce for joining us to talk about Healthy Joplin and the Walking Group Initiative. If you want more information, you can go to the website www.healthyjoplin.com or find them on their Facebook page. This is Newsmakers on KGCS TV from the Ruth Copeland Studios here at Missouri Southern State University, and I'm Bobby Potroff. We'll see you again soon.